Hello, hello. Hi, Avatar Ascension Group, Ariella's people. I am Monty. I am not Ariella. And I apologize for being late today for Ascension Talk with Ariella. Sorry. I thought I was coming on as a guest through the page. And so I came and I realized that you cannot go live unless you're Ariella. So I apologize for being late today. And today I am going to be talking about how to be a bridge to higher consciousness for the world through better, more clear communication. So first, some of you may know me. I did a live into this group for Ariella when she was unavailable about maybe 6 months ago. And so she is at a gorgeous, hey Sarah, she's at a gorgeous business conference with her mentor today in London. So she's having a great time. So she's asked me to come on and talk a little bit about clear communication. And so who I am in Ariella's world is I've been working for her for the last couple of years. We met as I got the opportunity and the privilege to mentor her through a transformational leadership program in San Diego that she and Ethan flew out for. Actually, it was about a 5-month process. And then we just really connected. And afterwards, she gifted me a couple of readings. And then, there was something happened and we were friends, and something happened to where somebody that was going to be on the team for Sedona couldn't come. And so I ended up going to the Sedona retreat. And so we just really gelled together. And then I started coaching for her. And it's really been a true blessing for me. So I want to tell you that's basically how we've come together. And what I do now is I'm the head catalyst. I work within her Creation Code Initiate program. Well, hello. Oh yeah, anybody that's coming in, would you just tell me where you're at right now? Like right now it's 8 a.m. in Los Angeles. But I know that Ariella has like people all over the world. So it's a different day for some of you, definitely a different time for a lot of you. So just say hi. It's great to be here with you. What I really love about my relationship with Ariella and this community and being a part of her world has been and why I want to talk about this topic today is because this community can be a little bit insular and has its own language, and I think it's really, really important for my London girl Sarah, I love you so much. Manchester, a lot of UK so far, so it's evening for you guys. But this work is really important to me because when I met Ariella, like I've always believed everything is possible, but I've never had like guides like Ariella and a lot of people in the community have had, where they're talking directly to guides. Like Ariella's had, aliens and, just all kinds of different experiences and entities around that she's been able to see and communicate with, and like to where she knows it, like this is real. And so when I came into the community, I believe everything is possible. I was a personal trainer, but I come from and so what Ariella likes me to bring is my groundedness, and I work for her. I'm in a lot of different worlds. I coach in the business world. I'm also an MC for larger events. I still am personal training a little bit as I transition. I'm working on a public speaking element of what I'm doing. Like next month, I'm going into improv. So, I'm really focused on communication. And what Ariella said to me one time at the retreat when I was with her in Glastonbury is like, she said, Monty, you've got a way of saying exactly what needs to be said, something that might be hard for a person to take, but in a way that they can really receive it, and then they could get the breakthrough and be listening, some people, so it can be hard. Like when you're bringing up a difficult subject or talking about something that somebody's really afraid of or feeling shame about, I just have a way of really being able to let them know that I have no judgment about it. Like whatever you're going at, whatever stage you're in, I have no judgment about it. I don't care about that. Like that's the old stuff, right? All I want to do is get you to where you want to go, like clear it out, So that's one of my skills in communication that I really love, helping people. I was, coached a few people from the community yesterday who were just like, thank you for letting me feel not judged. Oh, give me some hearts and some love. Thank you. And I love creating that space for people because I have been through it. I was a drug addict. I almost died a few times. I've been to jail a couple times. And now for me to be able to be on a really beautiful spiritual path and learning is such a blessing. So within the community, when we went to Sedona, I wanted to see things, I wanted to believe it for myself, different things. And somebody in a process was channeling, and then, it was a group process, and then she was doing something else was happening. And then all of a sudden something come through, and I saw it, and I believed it. And there was an entity possession, and Ariella, helped to hold her down, clear it out. And we got past that. But it was the first time that I'd seen something, like that I was very much okay, I get it. This is cool. It wasn't cool that she got possessed. It was scary, honestly, for a moment, but I was grateful to be able to see it. So I was like, okay, cool. There is something else. And then when we were in Froome, which is in Glastonbury last year, she had a channel come in, a woman that's a direct channel, and she channels this entity being aspect from the 26th dimension. And when he came through, I could tell this is really a different person. And everybody got to ask a question. And as they were going through the questions, I realized, wow, every single answer applies to me, applies to everybody in the room. It's just universal knowledge and truth, way above, where we're functioning, or a lot of us, way above where I was functioning. So for me, it was really a blessing. So that's a little bit of the background, and then also at the Sedona retreat, Ariella challenged me, and I came out on Facebook as a spiritual being because I'd always been, the way that I thought I was supposed to be. And just whatever, I'd put on a lot of masks to function in this earth game, doing what I thought I needed to do to really make it in the world. Anyway, so we did that, and things have started to change for me. So, for me, the importance of clear communication, especially for people in the spiritual community, is a lot of times there's jargon, and a way that we can talk to each other that makes a lot of sense within the community, right? But the opportunity, and why I think, so there's that. Why the opportunity is, I believe that because, a lot of us, a lot of you guys have been feeling really rejected, a little bit lonely, where nobody gets me, in the immediate area, right? So when you find a community like this and you're able to talk in the way that is natural and flows within, it's just, I bet it's a complete relief, And so that's what you want to do. And you don't want to conform maybe to what's going on outside. At least that's the experience that I've had with some people. And, it's you find your tribe. It's wow, finally I'm understood. And it's really, it's a high to be able to communicate in that way, right? The opportunity that I see is to be able to communicate outside of the community and to be able to help raise consciousness, because I think we can all agree that there's a lot going on the planet, and I believe it's all for the highest good, but it's my job. I take it on personally to raise consciousness on this planet. The other day, I was in a small group in another group that I'm in, and people were talking, excuse me, I'm sorry. My phone is not on airplane. That's my mistake. Anyway, people were talking about, here in America, Trump just got acquitted, and just angry, and it can be upsetting depending on how you look at it. But one of my friends was like, oh, now I gotta, I thought things were gonna turn around, and now I gotta go to war with what's going on. And I said, you can't go to war with it. Anything, he won last time because so much attention was put on him. He had all the power. You cannot go to war. Whenever you're at war, you're at war. If I destroy you, what did I win? Because I am you. You know what I mean? So, so there's a lot going on that can seem scary. There's a lot, the environment is a threat, and then people are trying to say that there's not a problem there. There's a lot of disconnection in the world. Like I live in LA and I walk down the street and I try to say hi to people and people are just like, they like literally like looking in the eye, they're staring at me. So I say, hey, how are you doing? And look away because people are so disconnected. I was at another event last week where I was emceeing and I was speaking to a woman who is really standing up against porn because it's really damaging her family. Her husband has been addicted to porn. They've tried, he went to a rehab place and also drugs they kind of go together, or at least for him. Also addicted, so he's been to rehab, therapists, all this kind of stuff, and it's really having a difficult time on their family. And within that, she was telling me 2 stories of children, one 6-year-old who had tried to come up to her daughter and say, show me your private, pull your pants down and touch yourself. And it's because he has access to the internet and porn, which is extremely low vibration. There was another 9-year-old, she was teaching, theater. She had the theater troupe, and there was a 9-year-old that was so addicted to porn, he had to be removed from the troupe, and he had to go through a year of therapy before he'd be able to come back. So there's a lot of things going on that are low vibration that we get to help raise the consciousness around. And so this is why it's important to really be able to look at your communication and make sure that you can communicate outside of this community and enroll people into something that they may not have thought about. They may not have heard about it. And I'm going to give you an example. The other day, I was doing that event down in Newport Beach, which is about an hour and 15 minutes away from here. And I got an Uber back, and I was in the Uber with this young kid. He was 27, and first I was working, and then we got to talking. And he's an engineer. If you've ever seen those people that are out in the street with the tripod measuring stuff or doing whatever, I don't know what they're doing. He tried to explain it to me. I still didn't get it. But he's passionate about it. He loves maps. He's got a very analytical mind, really, really nice kid. I mean, I'm a little bit older. So to me, he's a kid, 27 years old. And we just got into the conversation, and I told him about the experiences I shared with you earlier, that I had in the spiritual world at Ariella's retreats. I, told him, and the more that I told him, he was interested. So I told him, I know that I'm an angel spirit, that I know that I've come here to raise consciousness. I told him some of the words that have been spoken over me. Like Ariella, when she's gone through my readings, has told me one time, one reading, she says to me, we get on the phone or the Zoom and we're talking, and she's telling me that I didn't come here to learn, and to evolve my soul. I came here to raise consciousness, and that to order to serve, that I sacrificed the first part of my life. And it just struck me like so deeply. It was so true. I mean, I just cried because I put myself through a lot of trials, into a lot of darkness, I really did almost die a few times. And to get to where I'm at right now, where I can be the light, where I can express it, so I felt comfortable to tell him that. And I did. And he was really fascinated. He'd never heard any of these ideas before. And so I was using language, I wasn't using any kind of jargon, talking about rainbow bridges or, just anything that he couldn't understand, and that's the benefit, because I know I opened something up for him. We had a beautiful conversation, and he was exposed to a whole world that he'd never heard about before. And so that's the opportunity, he's already a good person in a higher vibration. Now imagine if I had the opportunity to speak with somebody that was, maybe believing a lot of what's going on, that we got to fight with this one, we got to fight with that one, there's not enough, lack consciousness, all of that sort of thing. Somebody really deeply ingrained in it. My opportunity with somebody like that is to really lift them up and give them, find out, what I like to do is find out, well, why are you hurting so much? I don't say it like that to somebody that's in a situation like that, but oh, what's that about? What's going on? Where did that come from? And try to lead them towards a higher consciousness, a higher perspective. show them what is possible. And that really happens through clear communication, that's in a speaking situation. Now, a lot of times on Facebook, there's a few different personality types in leadership, and I'm a controlling promoter, which means I like results and I like to have fun. So sometimes a lot of the people in the spiritual world just doing really long diatribes, really letting the feelings out, and it can be very flowery. And sometimes, I'm a really great communicator. I don't understand it. And so if I don't understand it, I can't get the message. So, you get to think about, when you're putting something up, it's like, who do I want to communicate with? Am I just getting this out because I need to get this out today, which is totally fine? Or am I wanting to make a shift for somebody today? And then looking at it, and one of the skills that I've learned in writing is this, I'll just do one of my favorite lessons ever, do a shitty first draft. So I'll just do a full draft, see whatever comes out. And then a couple of things I'm looking for when I'm going back through it is this particular, is a fact or something that I'm bringing up, is it really only relevant to me? Or is it relevant to everybody? Can everybody relate to it? One of the storytelling tricks that I've learned is being very clear, but then also taking a sidestep. And sometimes I require somebody else to help me, so I'll show it to a friend, because the things that sometimes are very important to me about a story are not important to you. It's superfluous information, and if I'm giving you information that doesn't feel relevant to you, you may decide to go somewhere else and give your time to something else. And so my point may not get across. So it's very important for me to look at what I'm writing and what I'm communicating and say, is this important? Is there something of value for everybody in this? And so that's one thing that I do. Another thing is I took a little break from my storytelling, and I've come back to it in the last few months. And I read the book by the guy that runs the TED. And something that just blew my mind was I was always trying to be stylistic and really cool, and and it was pretty cool. I had a pretty cool writing style, but the best storytelling, the best way to communicate is super simple, and so in the book, there's a section, and he's telling a story in that kind of way, super stylistic, and it's cool. And then he gets into it, and he's just straightforward, bringing characters to life, giving details that, speaking about feelings that everybody can relate to, maybe not feeling good enough, wondering if you're doing it right. What is my purpose? Where am I going? Those kind of things. And it's something that everybody, universally it comes to at some point. And so really just taking it out and taking out the words that are extra, just a little bit, you could take out just a little bit, or, I can't think of a lot of examples right now, but there's filler words that we use. So is this necessary? No, let's clean it up. Let's tighten it up. So that's something I like to do in writing. Another thing for that, I was saying before, it's 2020. There is a lot, there's so much content, and there's so many different things, places where people could put their attention. For instance, for those of you who are younger, back when I was a kid, I'm 40, I'm coming up on 48 later this month, Pisces, what? When I was a kid, there was, I think, 7 channels on the TV. And at night, the TV went, I think it was midnight or something. They played here in America, they played the Star Spangled Banner, and then it went to Fuzz. And that was it till, I don't know, maybe 6 o'clock in the morning or something like that. So it was there wasn't a lot of options. There wasn't so much distraction. There weren't so many opportunities. So today you can catch information. There's a new series coming out on Netflix basically every day. There's a lot of Facebook Live shows where you could be giving your attention. There's just a lot of competing places where people can learn and grow and be entertained. So this is one of the reasons why I think it's very important. If your post is this long, I'm not going to read it. I don't feel like I've got time for it. Even from people that I'm very interested in. Some of my best friends do these longer posts, and I look at them and that's not going to happen. So I like to create like small, like shorter posts. Another thing to do in writing when you're doing a post is to, you've seen it, it's becoming more popular, is to space things out. Like write a sentence or two that's, on a topic, not like it'd be like a very short paragraph, right? You do that and then create a little space and then do another one and kind of move it through like that way. It's a lot easier to digest, for me at least. I know, and I think this is why it works, is when I look at something that's just a big old block, I feel overwhelmed. When I look at little, bits like this, I feel like, oh, okay, this is very well organized. This is going to take me through a bit of a step-by-step process. This is something that I can look at, and I'll at least start to read it. And if it's really good, I'll make it all the way to the bottom. A lot of times, though, I do find that there can get, oh, it's surprising. If you got any questions or comments, please go ahead and put them in. I love to interact with you guys right now. But one thing, it's a lot of things I'll notice, and I notice this in also in spiritual books, like the main point, you can hit the main point in the first 20, 30 pages. Like you can hit the main point in the first bit of the communication, and then the rest of it, I find, becomes like repetitive. I don't find, so if it starts to like, we're getting away from the point, I'll stop reading. And the reason that I'm saying all of this is because I just want your communication to land. Like, I really do believe it's very, very important for the people in this community in particular that are raising consciousness to help everybody else raise consciousness as well. So I want your point to land so that you can change lives. There's so many people in this community, because I work with a lot of people with Ariella, and I'm working in different communities where people are just really having a very difficult time, like evolving on this 3D plane it can be very difficult. There's a lot of heaviness. And so to be able to help somebody else to find some of the peace that you're finding and find some of the insights that you're finding and learn about like what's going on outside is so massive. It's like such a gift you can give to humanity. When I was a kid, we'd hear about alien sightings and things like that, and spaceships, but there were not the multidimensional, or at least I wasn't aware of it. It wasn't becoming as big and prevalent, and also there was no internet. So it's really a beautiful time to be able to create a shift. So just to review, and I want to actually explain to you kind of what the storytelling arc I took you through. So first, I did a storytelling arc that my teacher taught me. So it's the story of me, the story of us, and the story of now. So I started out explaining to you like kind of how I came into this community, how I started to learn and see that there really is a lot of things going on. People are coming through from other dimensions and talking to us and helping us. And then the story of us, I talked about, some of, touched on some of the difficulties that a lot of the people in this community have had, really kind of having a spiritual awakening, seeing entities, communicating with, other realms, and being in like a community that nobody else knows what you're talking about. So feeling very isolated. That's the story of us. I grew up feeling like a complete outsider, much like Ariella. She had a lot of alcohol and drug problem in the past. She actually can drink alcohol very non-alcoholically, but it was dealing with those feelings. So I know that I'm not the only person, here that's had that. So that's the story of us. And then the story of now, I talked about how important it is for the planet to really go above and beyond and make sure that we are reaching out and raising people up. I talked about the environment. I talked about how disconnected people are. I use the example of pornography because it's so low vibration, and it's really, did you also, one more fact that I don't know if everybody knows this, I just learned this recently, that there are young men and a lot of women, young girls are having really bad experiences with their first sex, experience, because guys are watching porn and thinking it's this like aggressive kind of show to do instead of like a true connection, and so girls are feeling very not good sometimes about their first sexual experience. And then also there's a lot of young men that are going into doctors with erectile dysfunction because they're seeing this porn and they are thinking that that's what it's supposed to look like, and they're getting performance anxiety, and that's just one thing that's going on today that we get to raise consciousness about. So that was the story of now, and within the story of now, I also talk about how important it is and what an opportunity it is for us to go out into the world and make a change. So this is what I wanted to cover today. I want to thank you all for showing up today. If you have any questions or any suggestions, I don't know everything, I'm constantly learning. So if you've got an excellent point to make or, a contribution to this conversation, please do put it in the comments. And I want to thank you guys all for watching. I want to wish everybody a beautiful day. An amazing 2020. I always love speaking to this community. I love when I get to go to one of Ariella's retreats and help out. There's so many amazing people with so many amazing stories in this community, like things I had never heard about. And, these stories get to get out there so other people can understand like what is possible, that it's not this small little myopic planet that's all there is, because that's not true. So thank you for listening. If I can be of service, please do feel free to put a comment in here, put a question in here, and just wishing you a beautiful day again. Thank you.